So let's say you found a skeleton. How would you tell it's a demonized? You personally, how would you decide?
Well, interesting question. I don't know. I'd have to do some research on that.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Dapper Reacts number 32, Weaponized Brain Damage. I know there has been some speculation as to what the Klingon on the thumbnail says. Well, that is an exercise to the viewer. You just kind of have to write it down, get it into the normal Latin script that we use for Klingon, and then just pop open a dictionary and, just start working. I'll give you a hint. None of those words, of which I guess there are two, so neither of those words are in their lexical form. So, good luck.
These words are in the Bible.
Yeah, that's true, they're not in the Bible. All right, we have a couple super chats to go through right before we even really get started. First of all, Lance Hall says, I hunt for fossils in the Fort Worth area, and I was lucky enough to find a new pterosaur, Aetodactylus holly. Apparently, it was a new genus and species, and I believe that the holly means that it was in fact named after Lance by whoever described it. So congratulations, that is really cool.
That is so cool.
Yeah, I definitely do not have any archosaurs named for me, or any other organisms that I know of for that matter. I suppose there might be someone out there who's like, aha, I'm going to name it Dappery or something. I don't know. Whatever.
That is extremely
cool. It is very cool, yeah. Savage Cobra Kinda Official says, at coordinates 61 degrees, 20 minutes, 27.6 seconds north, 23 degrees, 42 minutes, 17.7 seconds east, a geographic feature resembling a singular AIG may be seen. I'm going to go ahead and guess that whatever is there kind of looks like a dick. So we're going to take a quick drink.
I'm not going to look it up, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to assume. Don't lie to me, everybody. I mean, I guess you can. What am I going to do about it? Here's a drink. We are doing the drinking rules today. I am drinking a hard cider. Basically because, I took a poll for should I do a drinking game. It was overwhelmingly yes, but also like, hey, maybe give your liver a little bit of a break. So this is about as weak a drink as I can get while still having some like cooling effect on the brain for the stupid. So yeah, I'm going for relatively low alcohol content on it. All right. Now, Alia Jane, who's been a member at the Sauropod level, is a member for 5 months now, says trans rights I identify as a problem. What are the problem pronouns? Right. It's good. It's a good question. TD Lane, who's been a member for 15 months and is at the tetrapod level, says, I'm 22 on Monday. Let's get this rolling, Godzilla. Well, happy birthday. Take a drink.
Elaine, happy early birthday, but also, you're a baby.
He is a baby. You didn't know that?
I did not realize that you were a baby.
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought you were like, I don't know why I thought you were like older than me.
No, he's a tiny little baby. He's barely old enough to drink. When I started this channel, he couldn't play along with the drinking game legally. Yeah.
Oh, babies grow up so fast.
I know. All right, Pelagic Tunicate, Truth Official. Sorry.
I love this. This is great.
For €2, says Cheshire send her hi AIG Mutoest.
Mutoest.
We'll take a drink for that.
I love that. Hello to Chesh, wherever she is.
Hi, Chesh. Roland Hutchins, who's been a member for 13 months and was at the tetrapod level, says Godzilla, Kent, get bent, and AIG is a bag of dicks, all via emojis. Now, granted, I helped make all those emojis easy, so, take a drink for that. All right, guys.
Edward Houghton, welcome to the chat.
Yes. Let's do a couple things. One, I want to say thank you. I got a set of Avatar The Last Airbender themed, or technically Avatar Legends, which is the Avatar The Last Airbender / Legends of Korra RPG. I got some dice for that. It's, I think it's 12 D6s, all of which have either one of the like symbols for like the Earth Kingdom or the Fire Nation or the Air Nomads or the Water Tribes. Yes, you got math rocks, and they also have a symbol for technology and weapons because apparently those are the 6 training styles in the RPG. So you have 2 for each training style, which I think is cool. There was no card with it, so if it was you, please let me know. I would
Thank you, anonymous benefactor.
Yes, I would like to be able to thank you, but if you would rather remain anonymous, that's okay too. But now we are here to talk about David Reeves and his apparently bunch of things that, according to him, prove the Bible is scientific.
Birds fly long way.
Yeah.
Therefore.
Yeah, therefore God for some reason, somehow. The Screen Geek for €2 says, Dapper, are ctenophores better or worse than salps? Better, by a lot. Yeah, ctenophores are great. Salps, not so much. Salps are trash. No, we don't like salps. We like ctenophores. Ctenophores are the largest animals to swim via cilia.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. They're also sometimes called comb jellies because the cilia look like little combs, and they're often bioluminescent with rainbow colors.
That sounds cute. Comb jellies.
You know what salps have? None of that. Yeah. None of that.
How do they propel themselves?
They take in water through their mouth and expel it through their anus. Yeah, see what I mean? Less cool. Significantly less cool.
All right.
Vishanti regrets asking. Yeah. See what I mean? Okay, salps are trash. All right, now. There it is. Okay.
There we go.
Strawberry Vein says, Vishanti, you look lovely today. Dapper, I assume you do as well. I mean, you can see me right there. I'm wearing my normal tie and my top hat and my monocle.
Thank you. I'm actually wearing another one of your lip balms today, Strawberry Vein. So this one is the Butcher. So.
All right. Well, let's go over the drinking rules real quick. We've already been at this for a little while. So, as you've already seen, if anyone super chats a AIG is a bag of dicks message or membership milestone chats, anything like that, we'll take a drink. You do have to be a little bit tricky though, because AIG is a bag of dicks. Like the bag of dicks part will be censored by YouTube, so you got to be a little clever. Let's see. We have if anyone sends a Godzilla emoji, which you can only get by being a channel member, link below. Feel free to join if you want to. A Godzilla or a Mothra or a King Ghidorah, we'll drink for that. Also, we will drink if they come by audibly, which does occasionally happen. May or may not. Rusty Longshanks for $2 says, all praise and glory to Pelagius Tuna Christ. Jeez. That's quite the series of portmanteau. Everyone hates me is what's happening right now. That's how that is.
That's pretty great. Pretty great.
The last big way that we can get a drink in without it being just, from the video, is if someone gifts memberships. We will take a drink for each gifted membership up to a certain level, like right around 30. We just go to finish drink, get new drink, and move on, rather than trying to count out that many. So 30 or more basically is just to finish your drink, Dapper, which I guess means do that early on in my new drink phase if you want me to drink a whole lot. So let's see. Now, we'll talk about the ones that David Reeves himself can trigger. So first of all, if he just says something that's so stupid that we just feel like we have to take a drink because it's going to melt our brain otherwise, take a drink for that. Also take a drink if he gets something that is factually correct, that he's not just quoting from someone else. It actually has to come out of his brain down to his vocal apparatus and then has to be spoken out loud as a true thing that he's saying. Take a drink for that. It's usually our least common drink trigger, except maybe for Trojan source, because most of them don't bother citing sources in the first place. Anyway, Trojan source is another one. If the source cited by a creationist not just does not support the claim, but directly contradicts the claim, we take a drink for that. What we call Trojan source. Now, we all know virtually any source they cite that's worth a damn isn't going to support their claim, because basically all of the distinctive claims of young Earth creationism are about as plausible as the distinctive claims of flat Earth. And I know some people disagree with me about that, but I just recently had ICR tell me that Alaska and Siberia were on opposite sides of the planet, which is worse than most flurfs get at geography. Fun fact, the distance between Alaska and Siberia is 55 miles. Yeah.
I literally just made my emoji face. That's how dumb that is.
Astronakamimi, welcome to the channel as an amnio. Thank you very much for your generosity. Everybody send, not planche tunicates, but send tetrapods.
Send
Tetrapods.
Send them
Send the
all.
tetrapods. Send the tetrapods.
Tunicate uprising, rise my children.
Tetrapods. Only...
Tunicate army.
Oh, goodness. Only tetrapods. Fate Degrees almost got it. Royland Hutchins is 50-50. All right. So we'll also take a drink if the creationist in question tells a joke that doesn't land or tells a story that didn't happen. So, for instance, if Dave Reeves confuses a conversation he had with a shampoo bottle in the shower with, say, a conversation he had with some evil atheist in a debate, we'll take a drink for that. We'll also take a drink if we're not sure what's going to happen next, but we get a correct prediction. So if either myself or Vishanti, can correctly predict what's coming, we're not sure. Take a drink for that. We will also take a drink if the National Socialist German Workers' Party is brought up, or various, say, famous or prominent members of that particular political party. If you don't know what the National Socialist German Workers' Party is, feel free to Google it. It will show you immediately what I'm talking about. I don't like to say the more common name because YouTube doesn't like it so much, and also, I just don't want that on my channel, whereas it comes up already enough with the Young Earth Creationists. There's already way too much National Socialism going on these videos. Which is Eddie, by the way.
Those people are big, stinky doo-doo heads.
Oh, yeah. Oh, with super thin skins. That's the most hilarious. That's one of the most hilarious parts is they like to have a lot of bravado, and then you mock them once and they fly into like an impotent baby rage.
Yes. Total just butt chafed.
Yeah. The Screen Geek, there we go, who's been a member for 1 month and is at the tetrapod level, says, "Oh, a free chat to tell Vishanti how lovely she is." Yay!
Yay!
I mean, with the feeders and the lip balm.
Yeah, I put in effort today, so I actually don't look like I just rolled out of bed. So.
You even took a shower today.
Yes, I did. Like, normally I wash my hair every other day, but today I was like, you know what? I need to, like, get the blood going and or so.
All right. Well, the Screen Geek...
And yes, Rebupox totally where they're almost sold out of a lot of their feather stuff, but they just had like the Aztec New Year celebration and Cinco de Mayo, so they'll probably be dropping another batch soon. So sign up either for their email list or follow them on, I think, Instagram, and they'll send out a notification when they drop a bunch of new.
Now, the Screen Geek has just gifted 1 Dapper Dinosaur membership, and it went to Jillian Wren, so we'll take a drink for that. Thank you very much.
Woohoo!
Have I missed any?
I was gonna say that the Fearmonger tagged you in a message that was Klingon, and I'm trying to scroll back up and find it.
I must have missed that.
I will put it in the Discord chat.
Okay.
So that you can... There you go.
Is the pot. That is a long sentence. That is a very long one. The pot lab me bej bet shall. Okay. So if Sal doesn't watch my video, then we will start not talking to him. Or it will make us not talk. Okay, Moch probably shouldn't be in there. You don't really need Moch. But yeah, otherwise it's just then we won't talk to him. Or we will begin not talking to him. Yep. Yeah. Get rid of the Moch. I don't see a reason why you need the Moch there. But yeah, if you just go with Wijat Choch Moch, then yeah. Yep. Technically Labme is like transmission or transmissions. Pashtata is probably more accurate for video because it means like a screen recording. Something you can play on a screen. So, but yeah, no, I mean, I got it once I figured out that pot is me. That's Dapper.
Dapper.
Yeah.
Dapper.
Okay. DM Wave for 616 says, in case Nero isn't in power, Godzilla, alright.
That's just Greek Nero, like, not Latin letter Nero. But also right before that, Astral Nekomimi since 666 and said sending the devil's number.
Oh my goodness.
Since to scare off the Creationists.
I missed that because I was paying attention to the Klingon. Thank you very much. And there's a Godzilla, so we'll take a drink for that too.
So we have both numerical values for Caesar Nero.
Yeah.
Both in Latin and in Greek gematria. So
yeah, and it doesn't have anything to do with Satan because it's Nero. It's very obviously Nero.
Yes, it's very obviously Nero.
Okay. Are we ready?
Yeah.
I was going to say, are you going to get more ready in the next few minutes? All right, here we go. David Reeves was telling us about how bird fly far, therefore Bible is scientific somehow. I'm not sure what the through line is there, but that's the argument so far.
Pinky in the brain reasoning.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm telling you. Does the Arctic tern, does the sea swallow know where to go, what to do, how to find its way back? Does it seem to have a built-in GPS where it can find its way 56,000 miles back to the same location?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, by analogy, it seems to have that. It doesn't literally have a GPS system. I don't think it's getting signals from the satellites, but...
Yes! In other words, what I'm telling you, you can help me out with this, is the Bible knows best.
Citation needed.
Yeah, I don't even know how you would cite that. Like, bird fly far, therefore Bible right? Because the Bible says that the birds know their courses. Because here's the thing, this was all based on him previously being like, oh, the Bible says the birds know their courses, which, like, yeah, people would have noticed back in, like, the Iron Age that birds flew away and sometimes they flew back. This is not like... Yeah, I'm just going to take a drink, and then we're going to talk a little bit about significant versus insignificant claims.
I'm not quibbling with the birds know their place, because that's just a nothing burger.
Yeah.
I'm more quibbling with the Bible knows best, because I'm like, I can think of several instances off the top of my head where that's not the case.
Yeah. So, the thing is, if the argument is supposed to be the Bible has significant scientific knowledge that would have been unavailable to the people writing it, who are mostly in the Iron Age and, like, Antiquity, right? So those are the two sections we're talking about, like Iron Age for the Hebrew scriptures, and then when you get into the New Testament, we're into, like, Antiquity, so 1st, 2nd centuries. I personally don't think any of it can reasonably be dated as late as the 3rd century. Other people disagree with me. I don't really care. It's all still Antiquity. Demon for $2 says, non sequitur, your thoughts are uncoordinated. I think I have that clip. Do I have that clip handy?
Nice.
Oh, I have
Please
it. I might have it somewhere. Give me a second.
Okay, while you're looking for it, Savage Cobra, kinda official for $2, says, birds go in, birds go out. You can't explain that.
Nice. Oh, wait. I think this is it. Yep, there it is.
Your facts are uncoordinated.
Impossible.
Yeah, so here, yeah, that was definitely it. Although, it was tiny, and I'm going to make it bigger next time we use it. But there was the non sequitur video.
Hear it.
It's because it doesn't play over Discord. I'm sorry, but it was there. They heard it. They're more important. All right. I just lost track of what I was going with. Oh, right. So, in order to make this claim, right, you have to come up with a scientific fact that people at the time would not have found obvious. So, for instance, if you say that, oh, the Bible talks about things falling, therefore that shows miraculous knowledge of universal gravitation, and the ancient Hebrews had a full knowledge of, like, Kepler's laws of planetary motion. No, it doesn't. Everyone throughout all of human history has noticed that things fall. Similarly, anyone who ever watched birds for more than a year has noticed that they migrate. This is not extraordinary. Now, if the Bible had said, now there's one bird that you'll never see because you don't live near them, but they fly all the way from the North Pole that you don't know exists because you think the Earth is flat, down to the South Pole that you also don't know exists because you've never heard of anything past the equator because, as far as you know, it just gets hotter and hotter and hotter as you go south, but trust me, it gets colder again. And then it flies all the way back up. If the Bible had that in there, now that would be pretty darn significant. Unfortunately, for this point, it doesn't. Now I know we just got a couple things. Let's see. We made Vishanti sad. Send pelagic tunicates. No, that is the wrong thing to do. Never do that.
Yes. Happiness units increased.
Ugh. You know, those are the things that, like I said, how do they travel through the water? You know, salps are a kind of pelagic tunicate. They all travel through the water by taking water in through their mouth and expelling it through their anus.
You can't be the face without having a heel. Therefore, tunicates, team tunicates.
It's absolutely. B2022 for £5 says AIG is a badly behaved, bulging bag of bulbous, ball-bonded bananas and bellhens bent on bringing you to the Bible. Wow. Very well alliterated and surprisingly accurate. Take a drink for that.
Julian Wren says, ooh, Sandy got to touch dinosaur bones in her class for Dinosaur Day.
Ooh,
her
nice.
teacher's sister might be a paleontologist.
Oh.
That's awesome.
That's pretty cool. All right, Trailmix, who's been a member for 5 months, is at the amniote level. It says, Dapper is also looking lovely despite not having showered due to an irrational fear of pelagic tunicates. Pelagic tunicate, a citation needed, and a Godzilla. We'll take a drink. And actually, I also took a shower this morning. So, yeah.
It was, what's the SCP that's like the underwater, like, terror where it makes people hydrophobic? The Holgan put out a short about it today. I can't remember what the number is, but
was it Anantashesha? Like. The big old eel leviathan?
No, it wasn't the eel. It wasn't the eel that they harvest the amnestic fluids for. It was it's literally like it looks like a toothy moray kind of fish thing.
It still sounds like
it
the
makes
eel.
people like it's in any size body of water.
Oh, I don't think I'm familiar with this one. There are thousands of them, so I don't know about all of them.
Indeed, there are. And you know what? Instead of me just guessing randomly until I somehow stumble upon it by accident, I'm just going to go scroll to the short and tell you, oh, it's SCP-1128 Abyssal Predator.
Nope, not familiar with that one. Ann Stevens has gifted 1 Dapper Dinosaur membership and went to Katie Lewis. So take a drink, everybody, for the gifted membership. Thank you very much.
Beamwing says, Vishanti and Dapper, how did Jesus know about food? Therefore, Bible per se.
Almondo
Calvo.
At least Almondo knows about. At least Almondo knows that food exists. Unlike Shmuel Paulin, who seems to think that babies growing in utero is a violation of the first law of thermodynamics because they just magically gain mass, which is just wow. It's where'd the matter come from?
Also, the Fearmonger's trying to dunk on me and saying it wasn't an eel, and then I described a moray kind of eel. That wasn't me saying it's not an eel, let me describe an eel. It was in a vague eel shaped, and it had teeth like a moray. Not that the creature looked like an eel, it's just that its teeth and the very front part of its face looked similar to a moray, even if the whole thing is not eel-shaped.
An important
Why
distinction.
am I talking about this?
I don't know, because you don't want to hear from David Reeves, which is understandable. Here we go.
Now, Psalm 139 says, and listen to the verbiage here, because this is really important. It says, thine eyes did see my substance, yet being unperfect. And in thy book all my members were written, which in continuance were fashioned, when as yet there was none of them. Well, did you
get a different translation? That is very hard to parse.
Huh?
Okay, we're gonna
All
look
your
up.
members.
We're gonna look this up in a translation that isn't 400 years old. That's mimicking 500-year-old English in the first place. Because in case you don't know, the language of the King James was already archaic in 1611 because it was a revision of the Bishop's Bible, which itself was based on the Geneva Bible from like 100 years before 1611.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the King James was hard to read when it came out. Now, don't get me wrong. I like a lot of the language in the King James, and there's a lot of instances where like that's the translation that I remember a verse in, right? It's got a lot of literary quality. It's very well done. But
I'll read this in the JPS Tanakh. Your eyes saw my unformed limbs. They were recorded in your book. In due time, they were formed to the very last one of them. What is the meaning of that? Oh, that's
the very last one of the limbs? Okay.
there's some ambiguity there, which I'm sure you won't be surprised to know.
Shocking.
Yeah, shocking. Hebrew being vague, or at least unclear. Pro tip for those of you who debate apologists who are like, the Bible's clear! It's not.
It's really not.
Anyone who tells you that the Bible's clear has no understanding of the language.
Look, I'm on record as saying that it is, in my opinion, perspicuity of the scripture might be the most obviously wrong thing that anyone has ever said about the Bible in all of history. You can disagree with me, that's fine. I'm probably not going to argue it. I just currently am of that opinion. Now, One More Once for $10 says, Mark 5:5, say, blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. This was fully 1700 years before the discovery of tardigrades. Explain that if you can. That is an amazing super chat. Thank you very much. I can't explain it.
That's fantastic.
You know what? Christianity confirmed tardigrade supremacy. Yeah, you didn't think that the end game of Christianity was tardigrade supremacy, but that's just because you weren't paying attention enough.
Well, if you have faith as a mustard seed, you can move mountains, and tardigrades are smaller than a mustard seed, right?
That's true. They are significantly smaller than a mustard seed.
Significantly smaller.
Astronakamimi for $2 says, AIG is a bag of all God's members in the Bible. Thanks. We'll take a drink.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see.
Enecha, your eyes. Okay, yeah, I'm looking at the actual like Hebrew, but Kulam, yeah.
What's the point of looking at the Hebrew when God preserved His word in the King James? That is the face I was looking for there. All right, I'm gonna hit play.
Do you know that we can actually talk about DNA as a book, basically the blueprints that makes you who you are?
No.
Yes, but you need to know that you're using metaphors and figurative language when you do that.
And that's the thing. He's not being very explicit. That's what he's doing. DNA is not a book, right? So there's two ways to think of quote unquote a book, right? It's either the thing you write as a long form piece of literature. That's one definition. Or it's the physical object that has words printed on pages between binding. Yeah, between bindings. DNA is neither of those things, right? We don't know of anyone who can be said with any certainty to have written out DNA as a work of literature. It's certainly not a work of literature, because you can't just translate it into a language and get some kind of like linguistic meaning out of it. It's not literature. We can't tell that it was directly written by anyone, with the possible exception of there have been some synthetic genomes inserted into bacterial cells. So I guess in that case, sure, I guess. And yeah, it's definitely not printed words on a page between bindings. So yeah, it's not a book in any sense, literally. But if you mean figuratively, in that you can encode it as a series of letters that you could then print, I guess, kind of, but that's a dumb comparison, but here we go.
It makes you 100% unique.
Yeah, unless you're an identical, like, twin or triplet or whatever. But for most people, yeah.
You know, when we realize that geneticists can tell you there are trillions upon trillions of combinations that makes up our DNA, if we were to write out
trillions upon trillions. Okay. Isn't the human genome like 3 gigabase base pairs long? Like, isn't that the size of the human genome?
I think he knows how numbers work.
Yeah, that's... I'm double checking human genome size. Okay, sorry. The 3-ish gigabase pairs was for the haploid genome. It's about 6.3 gigabase pairs for the diploid genome. Okay, I was thinking about the haploid genome. Sorry about that. Hey,
cool number there for God, yeah.
Yeah, but also... 6 gigabase pairs isn't trillions upon trillions, right? Because that means like a trillion times a trillion. So the human genome is far, far smaller than this.
I got you, Hugh Richards.
Sorry about that.
Hugh Richards said, AG is a pestiferous pile of pelagic tunicates. Godzilla emoji.
Nice. We'll take a drink for that. Yeah, Vishanti's here to help make sure that I stay on my toes. And don't be a dick like that and miss people. The other thing is I do have the viewer activity.
You already walk on your toes?
Okay, on my tippy toes. Like an ungulate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I do...
See, I did learn something at the museum.
You did.
One whole thing.
You also learned that Triceratops skulls are taller than you are.
Yes, some of
So.
them, in fact, are taller than me, and that was
Yeah. Remember seeing you staring at the case of the 3 different ceratopsian skulls, being like, "Oh, is that how big they
well,
are?"
they're. Yeah, I know. I was like, okay, yeah, those are quite large.
Yes. I do have the viewer activity tab open up here, so if I do miss something, I can just scroll up in it. I don't have to scroll through the entire chat. So I do miss something from you, please do tag me, let me know, and either myself or Vishanti should notice, and we'll, fix that. Okay, here we go.
Our DNA sequence, our genetic code in a book, it wouldn't fit just one book. No, it would take about 12.
I mean, it depends on how big the book is. You can.
I mean, how big that book?
Right.
Yeah.
Have you seen Codex Gigas? I'll bet you could fit the whole
Yes.
genome in Codex Gigas.
Yes.
In case you haven't, in case anyone isn't familiar with it, you can also find it under name The Devil's Bible for 2 reasons. One, it was said to have been written via the power of devils who helped the monk who wrote it get it done in like 1 weekend or some crap before he was due to be executed, and then that saved him from execution. Yeah, okay, look, that's probably not true. I guess I can't prove it, but I'm somewhat skeptical of that claim. But the other reason it's called that is because on one of its pages it has a gigantic illustration of Satan, which is actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But anyway, it's also a gigantic
Codex
book.
Giga Chad.
Yeah, it's basically the biggest one of the biggest bound books that's ever been produced in history. And yeah, you could probably fit the whole genome in there. You might have to write a little bit small, but that's okay. Now, Blocka Delighter, I think, is how I'm going to go with it. For €10, says, all of AIG's hypothetically existing brains combined wouldn't even fill a small recycled paper bag. Well, look, I can't disagree too much. Although, as we know, there is one creationist who apparently has a giant, galaxy brain, and it's John Sanford. And my favorite thing about
Telosian John Sanford,
Yeah, my favorite thing about that is that the more that people harp on just how smart John Sanford is, the harder it is for me to take them seriously when they tell me, "Oh no, he's not a liar."
Oh no, he just made a mistake.
Yeah,
he just made a mistake.
Over and over and over again about basic concepts. Whereas I'm like, yeah, I mixed up Neep and Summer Tides in one of my recent videos, and people jumped all over me. I'm like, yep, I messed that up.
Yeah.
But I didn't mess up the core concept that tides change in strength based on the relative position of the moon and the sun.
Yeah.
Whereas that's the kind of thing he's messing up.
Edward Houghton says, Dapper Dinosaur, if you saddle a Triceratops and hook reins over the horns, does that count as rack and pinion satire?
I'm going to go with yes. I don't have a good argument, but I'm going to go with yes.
Harness the power of Dino Rider.
All right.
For all you really old school folks in the chat.
Those are some cool toys.
Yeah.
1,200 encyclopedia volumes. That's a lot of books. So that's inside of you, right?
1,200 encyclopedia volumes? No, that's not true. I've seen the entire human genome take up one shelf with Encyclopedia Britannica-sized volumes. Or not one shelf, but one smallish bookcase. It was printed on less than 100 volumes. That's taking a drink for that. That's just completely untrue. You can print the entire human genome. Drink.
Let's try to use real science. Okay, says the human genome, when expressed as ASCII characters and losslessly compressed, will fit on a standard 700 megabyte CD-ROM.
Yep.
The more you know.
Now, I've seen Eric Hovind pull out a big old stack of CDs and say, "Oh, see, you would need this many CDs to fit the whole human genome." But what he means is if you wanted to have one copy for each cell in your body. But each cell in your body essentially has the same genome. So it's just a bunch of identical CDs. You know what that means you can do with all but one of them? Throw them away.
Like the AOL CDs.
Right. It's just as silly as me saying, look, do you know how many books it would take to fill up a whole text of the Bible? And then what I mean is actually if you wanted to reproduce every single actually currently existing physical Bible in existence. Well, yeah, if I wanted to double the number of Bibles, I'm sure it would take a lot of books. But that's a dumb thing to do.
Before you read the membership, me, formerly Johnny Rapine, says, take a look, it's in a book, appeal to large numbers.
Now, Too Young to Feel This Old has gifted 5 Dapper Dinosaur memberships, and they went to Alien Bird, John Smith, S.G. Cruitt, Mary Ann the Night Owl, and Jason Hyatt. So let's take some drinks. 1, 2,
Yes. The reign of the tunicate
3.
has come.
This is disgusting, by the way, guys. I can't believe that you would throw in so many pelagic tunicates. 4. Here we go. I lost track. And 5.
Yeah.
You know, at some point, I'm going to just have to put a sessile, like benthic tunicate as an emoji, just to relieve the horribleness of the pelagic tunicates. Because I love regular old sessile tunicates. Great guys. Really cool. It's those free
And
swimming
you just discriminate
tunicates.
against pelagic tunicates, and I won't stand for that sort of discrimination.
You're the one who is disgusted by how they swim, not me.
I was just not super thrilled. They can swim however they like. I just was not expecting that answer when I asked.
Yep. All right, here we go.
Right now. That's inside of you right now.
Okay, but David, again, the actual verse from the Psalms is basically just saying, God put me together as a little baby before I was born. Which is just a claim, right? It doesn't actually tell you anything about what people are made of, or what's in their cells, or even that there are cells, because, hey, spoiler alerts, no one knew what cells were in the Bronze Age. Oh! Vishanti's camera's gone!
Read the chat.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Be safe. Yeah, so again, if the Bible had said, you knit me together in my mother's womb based on the tiny instructions inside every little atom of my body, and they were expressed by little messengers running to and fro within the atomic structures, and like something like that, that might be cool. But the Bible saying, hey, God put you together in your mom, inside your mom, therefore DNA, like, you can't get there from here. That's why no one who was reading the Bible came away with DNA and the genetic code as we understand it now from doing that, right? They all had to use other lines of evidence, like the experiments of Gregor Mendel, to get a hold of the basics of genetics, and then getting on to, like, you know, later experiments to detect that it was actually the chromosomes that had these genes that people were talking about, and that they were made out of DNA, that was the molecule of inheritance, and eventually getting to the point where they discovered the actual structure of DNA, and then actually broke down, like, the nucleotide bases to become the actual, like, individual units of DNA that make up genes. Like, yeah, all of that wasn't based on reading the Bible. If you want to make the claim that, hey, the Bible contains miraculous knowledge, it would be nice if you could show someone who knew this from reading the Bible before it was discovered based on, you know, evidence. That'd be really cool.
But
Sorry,
maybe
Spider
1,200
friends, the spider violated our treaty.
Uh-oh. Treaty violation is not okay.
It was a treaty violation. Like, we have an understanding. They can exist unmolested as long as they don't walk into my field of vision. Once I see them, it's over.
All right.
Encyclopedia volumes of information isn't enough to really wake you up, because we've all had lunch and now we're a little bit full, and now we're thinking, well, yeah, that's a lot of information. We'll get this. That 1,200 encyclopedia volumes of information can be found in nearly every cell.
It's not 1,200, but okay.
Of your body right now.
Yeah?
That is enough information to fill up the entire Library of Congress, all 35 million books, multiple times over, and it's inside each and every one of us right now.
No, because it's the same information each time, right? So that's not how information normally works. Like think about it this way, right? Let's say I wrote, like, a quick message in Notepad, and then I saved it. And then I decided to just put more and more copies on my hard drive until my hard drive was full. Technically, yeah, my hard drive is full. But have I really filled it with that much information, really? No, I've just made a whole bunch of copies of a small text file. Now, even if it's a long text file, it doesn't really change it.
So, okay. Knee says, should I say it as knee or knee? Okay, so whichever. God knit Dapper in his egg and numbered his scales. And to that, Tesla Ranger replies, Dapper was crocheted, not knitted. Hashtag heretic.
All right, guys. Time to start a holy war about whether it was crochet or knitting. Which form of needlework was done? All right.
Amazing.
We'll have to check the Hebrew. Astronekomimi okay. For $2 says zip bombs definitely have petabytes of info / shrug. Yeah, it's a really weird using like it's weird what analogies creationists use because they always try to exaggerate how much information there is, even though there's plenty. It takes a while. A genome takes up some fair bit of space, but it's like one CD, not like a DVD which can hold more information. Just a regular old CD, the kind that you used to have a drive for on your computer, but you probably don't anymore because who does? Because physical media is dead, which is why you no longer own anything.
There is a book that was written that tells us who we are. DNA is completely one of a kind. Your iris.
Well, again, twins exist, but
yeah,
generally.
Iris and your retina contain unique patterns that are not found anywhere else on planet Earth. No two.
That part is true. So the retinas of two individuals, even if they're genetically identical, will be different. So there is that. That's because not everything in your biology is actually purely genetically determined. Some things are just stochastic. And your retina, the exact pattern in your retina is one of those things, just like your palm prints and fingernails, which he's also going to go over. So we'll take a drink for him getting that right. That is true. But those things are, in fact, unique, although they're not genetically determined. I mean, it's genetically determined that you have those things, but the exact shape they take isn't genetically determined.
Two palm prints are alike, and every fingerprint is unique. Who was it? Dr. Dan Biddle?
You know what's a fun thing about fingerprints?
Dan Biddle.
You know what's a fun thing about fingerprints, though? Is that basically only apes have them. And they all have them. Weird, right? It's like another little thing that's like, oh yeah, humans really are apes. Huh. Actually, I was talking to Cindy Lincoln earlier today, and she was asking about old world monkeys and whether or not Cercopithecidae would include the apes. That was a new word for her, was Cercopithecidae, which it is for most people. I'm not dogging on Cindy for this. And so I pointed out some of the things that separate Hominoidea, or the apes, from Cercopithecidae. And one of the things I pushed in there was like, oh, and they also all have unique molars. The same kind humans have. One of those reasons humans are apes. She actually sent me a text today to ask if I'd seen the Dave Farina James Tor debate, which I haven't seen all of it. I don't plan to. It was rough. Yeah.
Cindy, I hate that she watched that. That's not a good showing.
No. Well, I mean, it wasn't for James Tor either.
Okay. Well, I mean, I assumed he's kind of a hack, so.
I don't think either of them came out of that looking better than when they went in. No. I think they both made some tactical blunders.
This is why you don't have debates when you're having a beef like that. It needs to be... Anyway, so I went and looked up the word for what is translated as knitted, and the Middle Hebrew refers to like embroidering, or it also is used to make a fabric out of various colors, to weave things together. You could use it for needlepoint. The Arabic cognate is to do actual needlepoint embroidery, but also to write. You could use it to point a text, to brand a horse, or to, by extension, train or put something into shape. So it's just kind of referring to that.
Is it a different verb if I brand a cow?
Don't know.
Okay. Strawberry Vein for $5 says, I'm getting my nipples tattooed into heart shapes on Thursday. That sounds painful. That's worth a drink, right? If not, here's something that is. Mothra. Yeah, good luck with that. That sounds unpleasant to go through. Yeah. Hey, you know what? Have fun. I'm not gonna get any tattoos around there because that sounds terrible. Silver Harlow for $10 says
You don't have nipples, you're a dinosaur.
still have sensitive spots.
Okay.
Like the cloaca.
Why am I doing this to myself?
I don't know, but you do it. You just keep doing it so consistently. I don't know. Silver Harlow for $10 says Dapper realizes someone is standing behind him. A voice whispers in his ear, he sends her regards. Suddenly, pelagic tunicates! Oh, it's like an actual nightmare. I'm pretty sure I had that nightmare. Goodness.
Shotzi sends her regards. Dude, kids. Oh my god, that's amazing.
Here we go.
Can't remember who was it that had you hold up your thumb. Do a little experiment as we began this morning. You remember that? I want you to hold up your thumb right now. Look at your thumbprint.
I don't really
It
have
is
thumbs.
completely unique. The one on your other thumb is slightly different. Completely unique.
Yeah.
Every fingerprint is unique. But the fact that your thumbs are unique, do you know what that means?
No.
That means you are thumb body. The psalmist David says that we are fearful.
I don't care that they laughed. I'm taking a drink for that. That made me groan. Goodness, that was... Ooh. Okay, but here's another thing, right? It is true that thumbnails are generally unique, and they are usually not mirror images, although they're usually similar between your two thumbs. But here's the thing, right? This sort of like when you look at a rock, you can say, oh, can you imagine how incredibly unlikely it is that this rock took this exact shape with all of the grains or crystals in exactly this position, at exactly this size, with exactly this particular orientation of all the crystal matrices or whatever. Think about how unlikely that is. And yeah, it's fantastically unlikely. Any given rock is so unlikely that I hesitate to even calculate chances. But here's the thing. The system has to take a state, right? Like, do you know how big a number 52 factorial is?
Really big.
It's so big that most calculators can't give you a coherent value for it. But it's the number of possible combinations of a deck of cards. That doesn't mean that every time you shuffle a deck of cards, a miracle has occurred. The deck has to come into some configuration. Every configuration is just as likely as any other. And unless you were shooting for a particular configuration when you shuffled and weren't, stacking the deck to get it, then the fact that you shuffle the deck and it has a configuration isn't in any way impressive. Same thing with snowflakes. Every snowflake is fantastically unlikely to be exactly the way it is. That doesn't mean that the trillions and trillions of snowflakes that have ever existed are miracles into themselves, or unto themselves. So yeah, this is not in any way something that is significant. That thumbnails are unique. Yeah, there's a stochastic element to how they're, formed embryonically. Okay.
Thumbprints.
What did I say?
You said thumbnails.
Well, they're also probably unique when you get down to a cellular level.
Ridges, like the ridges on the
yeah. I don't really have thumbs, and I definitely don't have nails, so nails are weird to me. Just have a claw.
Just claws?
Yeah, just have a claw. What's so hard about that? But no, we gotta be primates with our weird nails. Get claws.
Just developing stuff because we were in and out of trees.
Yeah, I need better grip on my trees.
Yeah.
You know what? Claws are great for grip. Watch a cat. Cats are great in trees. Alright, anyway.
They're great going up trees.
I mean, I don't mean like a house cat that's
Because
dumb.
those claws only curl one way.
Well, I don't mean a house cat. I mean like a leopard.
Cats do the same thing!
Yeah, but they get down all the time.
Very awkwardly.
Leopards jump down on their prey like vicious drop bears.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, leopards are badass. Everyone's like, oh, lions and tigers.
Yeah,
cool.
they are.
Yeah, okay, but have you seen a leopard drop from a tree?
Fan.
Yeah, like...
Jaguars, they're OP. It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
They swim, and they can hunt underwater. They can drop out of trees and just eat you. They'll bite through your skull, and then drag your entire carcass back up into the tree and snack on it.
There's a video of a jaguar attacking and killing a black caiman in the Amazon. So, black caimans are no joke. Those are big animals. B2022. I always make that mistake. For £2 says AIG is a zoo of zebra-sized zucchinis with zero ethics. Nice. Take a drink.
Oh dear, Pelagic Tunicate Truth Official just added you.
Uh-oh. Why am I not seeing this? Alright, well, I'm going to hit play.
It's right above B2022's super chat.
Is it? Because I'm seeing Katie Lewis is right above that. Do I have this on?
Keep going. It's like,
Oh,
do
there
you have
it
it
is.
on
Yeah.
top or okay?
I did have on one of mine. I did have top chat as I'm an idiot. Okay, Pelagic Tunicate. With that problem, there are certainly ways around that. One of which is just don't fully clench your fist. There you go. Yeah. You know what you're getting into when you get on these shows.
Let's read the super chats, man.
Okay. Liam Wings says for $2, beware drop bears, scourge of the outback with a koala emoji. Yes. If you're ever in Australia, this is totally real. This is not a hoax or a prank that people play on tourists. There are, in fact, koalas, but then there are also drop bears, which are carnivorous koala-like animals that will drop out of trees and eat you. Gotta watch out. Your best bet is to actually rub kangaroo urine all over your body. That will prevent the drop bears from attacking you.
It's a good repellent.
Yeah. So, okay. Too Young to Feel This Old for $5 says, To AIG, NIN, Sukuvlake me. Sorry. Kotopu. I can't. Kotopula. If anyone speaks Greek and this is wrong, I'm sorry, Google Translate is bad sometimes. I'm taking a drink. Sorry, I had to... Those always get me.
Yeah, that's good.
No, I don't speak Greek terribly well. I never bothered with modern Greek. I took a fair bit of classical and Koine, but even that's very, 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 very rusty. But it looks pretty good to me. Kulaki, yeah, it's probably sack or bag. Yeah, I mean, it looks okay, but again, I don't know Greek, so don't trust me. Deanwing for $2 says, also, turtles are the best tetrapods. I can't necessarily endorse that view, but I'm also not going to contest it. All right, here we go.
And wonderfully made. He said, marvelous are thy works, and that my soul knoweth right well. That's actually Tennessee language right there. That my soul knoweth right well. It's right there.
Hey.
We are fearfully and
Yeah, it's really weird.
wonderfully made. We have a book inside of us, and the Bible really does know best.
Weird. The book inside of you's DNA and not the Bible.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that when the Bible says things like, you have the law impressed on your heart, it's not talking about your DNA. It's talking about an inherent sense of, your conscience, which is supposed to lead you towards things that are at least somewhat compatible with the law that God gave, because according to a lot of the Bible, the law of Moses is supposed to be, the height of morality. Now, there are some areas in there where I might disagree with it being the height of morality.
There are some areas where I definitely disagree.
Yeah. But, that's the idea there, right? This is not very complicated. It is true, the Bible is not very clear. However, that right there, there's not that much room for misunderstanding that and saying, oh, maybe it's DNA. So while the Bible is not clear in many cases, there are definitely readings that are excluded by any reasonable reading of the text. And the Bible is talking about your DNA is reasonably excluded from the text. Yeah. Touchpad for 50 secs. Thank you very much for sending a whole 50 secs. I always appreciate it when people send the secs. Says, blessed are the peacemakers. What's so special about the cheesemakers? What a great movie. I haven't seen that movie in forever.
Leviticus 17 speaks of the life of all flesh being the blood thereof.
Wow, how could people in the Iron Age have noticed?
They figure out that losing blood makes you die.
Yeah, no one has ever bled out until the modern period. That's how it works, everybody.
They ever know. And Astral Nekomimi, a sec is a Swedish kroner.
Yes.
Krona. So that's their currency.
Yeah. But it lets me make sex jokes.
Yeah.
Now, when I was researching for my second book, I just a short book, but I realized that I had a problem. Because when I read that verse, I said, no.
I was illiterate.
This can't be right.
Right.
No, I must be missing something. No. Oh, no. Because you know what?
Get to the point, dude. B2022 for £5 says AIG is an egregious establishment of erotic euphemisms and eggplants. Take a drink for
Good.
that.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I love that he's like, oh, I ran into trouble when I was writing my book, and I'm thinking, he's like that meme from the cartoon Arthur, where it's like, that sign won't stop me because I can't read.
Not all life has blood.
I mean,
That's
technically,
true. Yeah,
I mean, yeah, technically that is true.
Yeah, okay.
So did we just find an error in the Bible?
I mean, if you want to be that pedantic about it, I guess. I don't particularly want to be that pedantic about it.
If you're reading it literally, like you insist on doing whatever your name is, stupid apologist, then yes, you found an error.
Yeah.
Unless you're suddenly like, well, jellyfish don't have flesh.
You know what? I'll bet he'll go with that. Like, flesh only counts for some animals, not others. Like jellyfish and like sponges, that doesn't count as flesh. He might actually do that. Ashton Nekamimi for $1.99 says AIG is a bag of Swedish Cronus organ. Take a drink for that. Okay.
And I said, no, the Bible knows best. It can't be. I must be missing something.
What do you think he does with
Could this text be an error? No, it's me who is wrong.
It's not just me who's wrong. It's reality who is wrong.
Yeah, it's reality that is wrong.
What do you think he does with the floodgates of heaven in Genesis? What is that, 7?
Oh, no. You see, that's just a metaphorical, poetic. No.
Yeah, that part we don't have to take.
This is definitely all literal, except, it's not actually literal because reasons.
Right.
Yeah.
T.D. Lane says, to quote Ferris Manus, the flesh is weak. Yeah, that's why you replace it with a whole bunch of bionic parts.
Yeah.
Although,
or you just become a Bene Gesserit and learn how to, transmute your own cells and chemistry and stuff.
Yeah, but now we're mixing our sci-fi universes. Ferris Manus isn't from Dune. Although...
That's okay, because, you know what? I just watched an hour-long video about the Butlerian Jihad, and...
Nice.
Putting your brain canister inside, robot bodies, we don't do that.
No, because that's, it's a thinking brain, so it's not, the machine isn't the thinking part, but still, that's way too close to a thinking machine.
Yeah, machines may not be made in the likeness of
human mind. Yeah.
Nope. Human mind, yeah. You can't do that.
Yeah. Nope. No thinking machines in my orange Catholic Minecraft server.
Mm-mm.
The Bible is going to be scientifically true. And I kept reading it over. The life of all flesh is the blood.
And yes, Vadim is, like I said, there were cyborgs in Dune. I am correct.
Yeah, but I wasn't disagreeing with you. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that's too much like a thinking machine, so it's not okay.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely not okay.
I'm just coming out as anti-Cymek. I'm not saying Cymeks aren't a thing. Vandali 1998
Team
for
abominable intelligence.
Yes. Vandali 1998 for $5 says Dapper Dinosaur says, get to the point, but Yek speeches are like animes, 5 minutes of relevant stuff, and the rest is filler episodes. Yeah, or The Walking Dead after season 3. Just filler episodes.
That's generous, but okay, yeah.
Yeah. Well, how about this? It really started with season 2, but it got way more pronounced after seasons 3 and 4.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Thereof, and I realized I'm not thinking about the word flesh, because guess what? Yes, there are some creatures that don't have blood.
Called it.
Those creatures don't have flesh.
Drink. That is so
nailed it.
Dumb.
Nailed it. I found a pedantic technicality that lets me still read my text literally.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break.
Look at that face. Look at that face. That's exactly what he's thinking.
Yeah, that's his troll face right there. Guys, we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to get myself a fresh bottle of cider, and we will be back very shortly. In the meantime, however, please enjoy the musical stylings of Beethoven. And we are back from our quick little break. I hope that you enjoyed the musical stylings of Beethoven and or the ads that I played, because capitalism. Yeah. If you know what, if Google and Patreon aren't going to give me money, not too many other people are gonna. So I suppose I could get a real job. No. Look, I mean, this is actually a real job. I work at it very hard, and it actually does in fact pay me. So, but yeah. Anyway, we've got a £2, almost said euro, but that's not right. £2 super chat from Ann Stevens saying, splice vowels from AIG with consonants from KJV, question mark? Like, Kajiv? Is that how that works? Kajiv? I mean, I guess you could. All right. Let's see. Damien McLagan says, sorry for being uncultured, but what are the numbers on your clock during breaks? Those are the numbers 1 through 12 using Klingon numerals, because that's an aesthetic choice the channel makes somewhat frequently. And Vishanti has just disappeared into the depths of her room. I think I will hit play while she is there doing something mysterious.
Like sea sponges, things like that.
Okay, what's your definition of flesh there, David? Because to me, flesh is just, body of an animal, solid parts of an animal. Like,
You also definitely called the fact that he would say sponges, and I called jellyfish.
Oh
so-
yeah, we get another drink for sponges for that prediction. So
Yeah.
Here we go. Okay, B2022 for £5 says AIG is a troublesome troubadour troop of titchy tiny testicle tethered dodgers. Sorry, I had to get the leet speak back into my brain for a second there. Very nice. We'll take a drink. Man, leet speak. What is this, like 2005? I haven't done leet speak in a while.
Nee says ceratosaurs are a bit limited in their employability. We used to have a ceratosaur bagger at Acme, but it didn't work out well.
That's too bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, when it comes to leet speak, that's like citing the deep magic to Aslan right there.
Yeah, it is.
So not only does the Bible know best, but it is accurate enough to put the word flesh in there.
Enough.
You haven't defined flesh. You haven't given us a reason to say that sponges don't have flesh, my guy. Plus, for being technical, basically nothing but vertebrate. Well, I guess, okay, chordates has blood technically. Like, squid don't have blood. Do they have flesh? They have muscle tissue, which is usually what you're eating when you talk about eating flesh.
Oh my god, Dapper. Edward Houghton just said, just open up your own Serratus store.
Ooh. That would be pretty good.
Serratus store.
I could sell Serratus Snore pillows. All right. Actually, I do technically sell a pillow. Links in the description.
You do?
Which, by the way, we didn't go through the thing. So, real quick, yeah, as I said, this channel is almost entirely supported directly through the generosity of my members and patrons. You want to join the channel? Link below the video. You want to join the Patreon? Link in the description. You have a 12% discount if you go annual on Patreon. Really helps. If you don't want to have a recurring payment, or it's just not right for you, there are other options. There's a merch store. There's also Amazon wish lists. Mine is linked in the description. Ben's is listed in the description. Also, if you like Beethoven's music and you want to support it and get early access to some of his tracks, he's got a Patreon linked in the description too. And Vishanti has a wish list linked on her channel, which again, linked in the description. So what I'm saying is, go into the description and click on some links. All right, here we go.
To make sure that it is scientifically accurate. Is the science a Bible textbook? I always tell people, absolutely not. Science textbooks have to be updated every year.
Is the science a Bible textbook? I know he meant to say, is the Bible a science textbook, but that is funny to me.
It is, yeah. But man, you haven't given us a good reason to say that flesh excludes things that don't have blood. Because, you know what? Let's just look at what the normal definition of flesh is. Now, Savage Cobra, kind of official for $5, says, if the Bible was literally true, would I have birthmarks if my parents' bedroom had striped wallpaper? It should, you would think, right? Based on the story of Jacob. Now I can't remember. Was it Jacob with the stripy cattle?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I've got it right. All right. So, flesh definition. Let's just check, right? So soft substance consisting of muscle and fat that is found between the skin and bones of an animal or human. Let's see. We're going to see more. Flesh of an animal regarded as food. So that seems to indicate that anything that people are eating that's an animal might have flesh. The pulpy substance of fruit or vegetables. That's probably the skin or surface of the human body with reference to its color, appearance, or sensual properties. Oh, okay. The human body and its physical needs and desires as contrasted with the mind or the soul. And also its color. I would argue that the first definition is actually iffy as to whether or not it doesn't count. Now, what's the term there in Hebrew? What does that actually mean?
Probably basar.
Can we get a quick definition for that one?
What verse is that? Leviticus 12.
Life of the flesh is in the blood. The life of the flesh is in the blood is Leviticus.
No, it'd be Genesis, right?
No, that's Leviticus 17.
Well, it's probably also in Genesis because
Oh,
remember, Noah. That was one of the Noahide laws.
Weird. All right. Well, yeah. Anyway, yeah. We'll hit play.
Anyway, it's 7 what? 17.
Oh, I think it's at 11, but that now that I looked at it, it didn't look quite right to me. Life of the flesh is in blood.
Yeah, it's basar.
Okay.
Basar literally just means flesh, like actual flesh. Flesh meat. It can also refer to like a body or a creature. The skin of like fruits. So
seems pretty generic. Seems like if you had
yeah,
asked an
generic.
ancient, yeah, seems like if you asked an ancient Hebrew, like,
flesh.
hey, does this jellyfish have flesh? They'd be like, yeah, it's the body of an animal. So yeah.
Yeah.
Too bad it doesn't have blood, though, isn't it? Also, isn't there a bit in one of Paul's letters about how like the creeping things and the birds and the humans and the beasts have different kinds of flesh? And with the creeping things, that would imply some of the things that don't have blood. Pretty sure that happened
By the
too.
way, I think we have someone who has beheld the moon in chat. I think that Blessed be He has beheld the moon because they're saying, how can you do science with a capital S without His fire within you? He sustained you. So I think they looked at the moon.
Yeah, that's definitely looks like a moon looker. Don't look at the moon. It's pretty easy, guys.
Now, before we move on to the other, I'm just going to pull out one more point out of this. Okay. Something I think we can learn from. All right?
That'd be a first.
That's been there for thousands of years. We have been reading this over and over and over again for thousands of years. Did you know that the average adult human...
Okay.
Look, that's more than one, so I'm going to actually take a drink for that being true. Because in English, plural is more than one.
Yeah.
Actually, I guess it's at least two, since usually English uses singular for things that are more than one but less than two. Or no, it doesn't, so it is more than one. Yeah, I have 1.5 dishes. Okay, yeah, more than one. Let's drink for that. Now, Pelagic Tunicate, Truth Official, for €2 says, do horseshoe crabs have flesh and blood? I would say yes and no. Because they do not have blood, they have hemolymph. Strawberry Vein for $5 says, God really loves blood. His own son's blood is the best blood. That stuff sure quenches the thirst. I mean, not in the amounts they give you in church. It's way too small. Unless, of course, you're the priest and you made way too much. So I don't know if you know, but in traditional Christian liturgies, after everyone's taken communion, any remaining elements of communion that aren't being reserved for like the sick or the elderly or whatever are consumed by the priest. And sometimes they overestimate how many people are going to be there. And it's like, oh, there's like a quart of wine left. Okay. It turns out that even after that transubstantiation, it'll still get you drunk.
Contains about 107.
I was going to say, what's the name of the box where they put the extra wafers before they dissolve it in like water or whatever?
I mean, there's a tabernacle where sometimes they're stored in Catholic churches. There's also, I don't know that all the boxes they're stored in for later use, like for bringing to like the sick or the elderly. who are like bedridden. I don't know that there's a special name for that box. There's also monstrances in the Catholic Church. That's pretty.
Yeah, I was not thinking of a monstrance. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah. Dapper Dinosaur, as a desert dweller, would you say that cactus juice is the quenchiest? No, actually, you should not drink cactus juice unless you know exactly what you're doing. There are a few barrel cacti species whose flesh is okay to get water from, but it's very few. And you definitely need to know exactly what you're talking about. Because even though when it happened to Sokka, he just got a little loopy, you can die. Yeah. Do not simply cut into a cactus and drink the water in there. Could die.
60 ounces of blood? That sounds trivial. David, why do we need to know 160 ounces of blood? Why are you teaching us this? Well, you know, a couple hundred years ago, there was this thing called bloodletting. In colonial times, it was pretty common. They would take blood.
Oh, my goodness. The life of the flesh is in the blood is not a good reason to say that bloodletting is dumb. Bloodletting is still occasionally a treatment. Sometimes you still need to get blood out of things. Like, if you have blood drainage problems, so for instance, if you just had some major surgery, sometimes not all the veins have re-healed, so the blood drainage from an extremity isn't functioning properly. If you don't remove that blood, that extremity will die. So for instance, if you have like some really bad like ankle injury, right, and you need a whole bunch of surgery in there, you might have blood drainage problems, and they need to bleed that. Now, they might lance it. They might also use some medical leeches. That's another thing. Also, there are some medical conditions where, in fact, bloodletting is still the prescribed whatever it is. And of course, let's not forget about everyone's favorite medical condition that requires blood draining, priapism. Look it up, kids.
Blood out of people to try to heal them of certain diseases. Well, guess what? In the hours just before George Washington died, they took out approximately 138 ounces of his blood.
Shut up.
You dropped the F-bomb.
Scientists not even discovered the basics of life. LOL, how do you know how your heart beats?
The interesting thing to me for this, right, is that the people doing the bloodletting on George Washington were far more likely to be influenced by biblical ideas in terms of their medical science than modern doctors are. Now, I don't think that they did get this from the Bible, but like, when you're talking about like, hey, when were people who were the most influenced by the Bible in terms of science likely to do dumb things like, bleed a president to death? Is it now when people are less influenced by the Bible, or is it back when they were more influenced by the Bible in science? Weirdly enough, it's back when they were more influenced by the Bible and science. Odd.
In other words, they took out nearly every ounce of blood in his body, and he died.
Yeah, if they hadn't done it, he'd still be alive today, right?
If only they would.
That's actually one of my favorite Ken Hovind jokes.
It's not. Yeah,
I don't
it's
know
one of
why
his
it always
better.
makes me laugh, but it is funny.
Yeah.
Have read Leviticus 17, George Washington would still be alive today.
Oh my God, we're taking a drink for correct prediction. Man, don't steal all of Kent Hovind's jokes. That one's okay-ish, but like, goodness, what? Imagine modeling yourself on Kent Hovind. Like,
Couldn't be me.
No, me either. Goodness.
Mm-mm.
No, wait, maybe not. The point is, the Bible knows best. If we were to read Leviticus 11.
Again.
He's lying. I'm just going to call him out. I just have to say this. He's lying. He does not think the Bible knows best. If he thought that when he's quoting Leviticus 11, just keep reading. You don't follow the dietary laws. Obviously, you don't think it knows best.
Yeah. I lost track of what I was going to say, so never mind.
It says, every earthen vessel where a dead thing falls, whatsoever is in it shall be unclean, and you should break the pot. So in other words, if a dead animal falls into a piece of earthenware pottery, break it. The very next verse says, well, if it's clothing or something that you won't eat out of, don't worry about it. Wash it. Use it again. Why did God say this and command the Israelites? Is he just trying to put these arbitrary rules and regulations? Is he a malicious God?
No, people probably noticed that if you ate rotten meat, it was bad for you. and some random animal that fell into your pot is probably rotten, so you should probably get rid of it. Like, this... Again, people in the Iron Age weren't just complete morons. Sure, they didn't know as much as we know today, but, like, they could notice, oh, hey, Jimmy over there had a rat found in his, bag of grain, and then after he ate the grain, he got really sick and died. Maybe if you find a dead rat in your jar of grain, don't eat that grain. Get different grain. Maybe that's a thing. I don't know.
Listen, if he wants to talk about how good and awesome and prescient these laws are, I will again say, read to the end of the chapter. In fact, you know what? Just read the next, 7, just to be fun. You may even go up to 19. But you don't think those laws are good, because Jesus set you free from the law. Well, then put dead things in your earthen vessels. That's part of the law.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah. Although, no, the dietary laws against pigs were not to prevent trichinosis.
No, they were not. People need to stop saying that, please.
Yes.
I scream anytime someone does this.
Yep.
This is through the Bronze Age. This is into the early Iron Age. People knew how to forge weapons. It was not about how much you could cook your meat. Goodness gracious.
People could make perfectly well-cooked pork. Yeah. Let's see. Strawberry Vein says, George Washington is still alive. All hail the Horned Serpent, devourer of villains.
Yes!
This is a good point. Yeah, he was found, frozen in a block of ice, right? And then revived.
No,
Is that...
Nobody was supposed to know about that.
Ah, darn it, I spilled the bean.
Remember?
USGS is going to be so angry. I'm not going to get my shill check anymore.
Make sure you put it on Twitter.
Oh, they're going to come after me with some Giza glass, I bet. If you see a giant Dapper head floating around, don't worry.
Trying to create things that are nonsensical so that then he can catch someone breaking it and punish them? Is that the kind of God we have?
I mean, given some of the laws, hey, don't wear mixed fabrics. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Or hey, guys, make the trim of your prayer shawls a particular blue that doesn't even exist anymore. Good luck.
It does.
Well, it maybe does. There's two camps of, it's this snail or it's that snail. I own both. Dye from both. There you go.
Yeah, the Chilazone is said to be either Murex or a different snail, and you can buy dye 2-day used with either one of those.
Well, that's good to know. I mean, I'm not particularly worried about it, but it's good to know that the snails are available.
And it was very pricey, but I bought the dye from the Murex snail, and it looks so pretty.
Wait, you didn't buy your own snails and then crush them up yourself?
I don't have time to make dye.
Slacker.
Slacker. Yeah,
you get extra prayer points if you make your own dye from your own live snails.
I would rather just have other people do it.
Does the Bible know best? You see, we didn't know about germs until a fellow by the name of Louis Pasteur and several other very brilliant scholars came along and studied these things.
But we knew about rotten meat, my guy.
Yeah,
Just
that's
taking
dumb.
another drink.
What the heck?
Look, the fact that people didn't have the germ disease doesn't mean that they had no ideas about food safety. There's a reason that people would cook their meat all the way through. Why they would throw out meat that was all rotten and smelly. Right? These are things people already knew about. You don't need to know, this particular piece of meat is infected with a bacteria. We should get rid of it. No, it's slimy, it smells gross, and I don't want to eat it.
It smells gross, and it makes me sick when I eat it. But, if someone hadn't told me not to do it, I would just still be doing it.
Yeah, exactly. And the only reason that anyone could ever tell you not to do it is because they know about bacteria. No one could ever just tell you, hey, don't eat that, it's a bad idea. Astronekamimi for $1.99 says, does he not know why kosher/halal exists? He does not.
Not really.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I mean, some parts of kosher are, in fact, some food safety things. Most of both, though, are just cultural determinant. Well, humane slaughter, animals. But also there's a lot of just cultural distinctiveness. So, those people are the ones who eat pigs and camels and whatnot, and we're not.
Yeah.
Or if you're doing halal, those are the people who eat pigs. But we don't. But we do eat camels.
Yeah.
Because camels are halal, assuming they're appropriately slaughtered.
Yes.
Pelagic Tunicate, Truth Official for €2 says 30 drink triggers, finish your drink or you are a IG. Yeah, that's you can't just say 30 drink triggers and then make me finish my drink. That's not how that works. But good effort though. I do appreciate the effort. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, as a rule of thumb, if it's kosher, it's halal. If it's halal, that does not make it kosher. Kosher is much more restrictive.
It may or may not be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so if you're a Muslim, generally speaking, you can eat kosher food. But if you're Jewish and you're keeping kosher, a halal packaging does not guarantee that is going to be free of all trafe food items.
Yeah.
I've been to Israel about a dozen times. I have picked
Eric
up...
Foxy. Eric Foxy says halal in oats.
Yeah, actually,
so great.
Dustin Carroll does point out kosher alcohol is not halal. Or sorry, yeah, it's not halal. That's true. That's why I said kosher food.
Yeah.
Kosher drinks are not always
Food,
halal.
Yeah. And yes, too young to feel this old, but are giraffes kosher? They are, actually.
Yeah.
They have split hoods and they chew cud. It is technically kosher. You just won't find Jews eating them. It's not really done.
There are more strict interpretations of the kosher laws that basically don't allow anything but the 11 traditional genera of kosher animals, in which case the answer would be no. But yeah, if you're just going off of the requirements listed in the actual Torah, yeah. They're split-hoofed animals who chew the cud. Basically, it's ruminants, which would also include musk deer.
Mm-hmm.
So, reindeer, deer generally, musk deer, giraffes,
the
pronghorns.
deer kind.
Yeah, pronghorns. Also,
yeah.
Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pieces of pottery. Now, every time you find a piece of pottery, if you pick it up, there's at least a 99% chance that pottery is unglazed. How many of you know what glazing is in pottery?
Okay, here we go. I'm gonna ask the chat. Start a poll. Do you know what glazing is in pottery? Yes, no, and of course. Turtle. Oh wait. I tried to hit enter and it was like, oh, does that mean you want to have like a fourth option? No, I don't want a fourth option, YouTube. Sometimes. Yeah, we're not going to let this poll go too long. German has some great animal names. I just got to put that out there. Like,
I do.
Shield turtle or shield toad, depending on how you want to translate it.
Toad.
Toad, yeah.
Yeah.
Flappy mouse for bats. We've got wash bear for raccoons. Almost everything is like a cow, a dog, a pig, or like a horse. Like everything.
Yeah.
Got very few animal terms. We just German's like, we could borrow animal terms from other languages, or we could just put adjectives in front of other animal terms. Like, yeah, okay, yeah, that works. All right, we're gonna end this because he's immediately gonna go on to explain what glazing is. Probably gonna get it roughly right, so we're just gonna end that poll real quick. So let's see. Out of the 59 of you who voted, thank you very much. 66 do know what glazing is. 32% said turtle, and only 1% said no. So I'm going to go ahead and... Oh, it's also wash bear in Swedish, which something like... Look, I don't know Swedish.
Björn? Okay.
Yeah. Which I'm going to go ahead and say, is that a calc from German? Is that how that came about? Or is that like an independent derivation? Or was it a calc in German from Swedish? I don't know. Let me know if you know the etymology. So yeah, here we go. Let's have David Reeves tell us about glazing pottery for some reason.
Okay.
That's right. Glazing is this process which actually seals the earthenware nature of the pottery. Am I correct here?
Yes. You put a little clear coat and it seeps into all those little pores in the clay and gives it a smooth finish. Hooray! Take a drink. That was technically true. The Fearmonger official says they're all Germanic, probably got it from the same place. Well, okay, but that doesn't answer my question. Like, are they a calque of one from the other? Are they independent derivations of the same term? Because, like, there's no native Germanic term for raccoon. Because there's no native Indo-European term for raccoon. So they can't just be direct cognates. They have to be borrowed from somewhere or independent neologisms or calques.
They
or
came from the
something.
Tower of Babel, of course.
Obviously. Actually, speaking of that, the video that I am scripting not this minute, but in the process of scripting, whole section on the Tower of Babel. Fun fact, according to the Tower of Babel hypothesis, the roughly average time it would take for Afroasiatic languages to split into two languages to get to the point where when Abraham gets to Egypt, we have our known diversity of Afroasiatic languages at that time. Once every 11 years or so.
Oh.
So imagine if, like, you didn't talk, like, so it's the ancient world, right? You move a few villages over, then 11 years later, go back for a visit, and, like, you talk to your brother or sister, and suddenly they speak a different language that's entirely mutually unintelligible with yours. Does that seem realistic to you? Because it doesn't to me. Over 11 years.
I'm gonna remain skeptical.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I'm not gonna say that's not possible. I'm just gonna say I'm skeptical.
The Fearmonger official says, given that it translates to the same thing, it's seemingly different cognates, maybe Swedish copied from a direct translation from German, don't know. Yes, that is what a calque is, which is why I asked if it were a calque. Calques are when you directly translate a term into your native language. So, yeah. That's why the term for skyscraper in French is just French for sky scratcher, because it's a calque from English, skyscraper.
It seals the earthenware nature of the pottery, which kind of makes it impervious to these germs and microbes and things. But the Israelites, they couldn't afford, they didn't have what it took to glaze all of their pots.
Those poor dumb Israelites couldn't glaze their pots. Okay, so hold on. Does the Bible have an exception for glazed pottery with this rule? Because I don't think it does. I don't remember that. Yeah.
It does not.
Weird.
Even in modern Judaism, there's 3 different categories of dishes that you need to wash for Passover, and you do that in a different way for each type. Like, there's for metal, for glass, and for, like, ceramics, which are basically glazed or fired. And each one of those has a different procedure to make sure that they don't have, like, any kind of remaining particles or whatever. And I'm just like, when does he think that they developed fired pottery? Does he know?
No.
Did he just assume that they? No, everybody just made pots and left them out to bake.
Do you think David Reeves knows when pottery technology was developed? Where?
You can make the pottery. You can bake them to the point where they're hard, but you can't glaze them. I mean, stupid Hebrews. This guy's a dork.
Well, I mean, look at him.
Yeah.
Where's your tie, my guy? Button that second to last button also.
Yeah, he needs to button his jacket when you're standing up. At least get that part right.
Yeah, and also on his actual shirt, like, you've got one too many buttons unbuttoned. Like, just dress yourself properly, man. Now, I say that as someone who spends a lot of time in pajama pants, but that's because I'm not going out.
I'm in pajama pants right now.
Yeah.
But I think Derek Guy would destroy this dude's look right now. Just saying. That guy studied at a freaking monastery for posting, I swear.
So most of them were unglazed. They were earthen jars, just in its rawest
citation
form.
Needed.
Oh, where's my citation?
Goodness.
Where'd it go? Where's my... Okay, now this is going to annoy me. Where's my citation? There it is. There we go. There's the citation needed video.
Comes along there and dies in the pot, there's no telling what diseases it died from, right? So the very next time
animals just casually wandering into pots and dying.
Okay, to be fair, I don't think he's claiming that this is a frequent occurrence. So I'll give him that. Like, it's not like, I don't think he's envisioning a world where, like, animals, like, preferentially fall into pots just to screw with the Israelites.
I'm just saying they just randomly do it.
Yeah, well,
you've got a goat wandering around and it just steps its one hoof into a pot and goes, I'll die.
I was picturing more like mice, but okay.
Well, yes, it's hyperbole, but yes.
which, by the way, are the kind of thing that would get into your pot if they're trying to eat all the grain or whatnot.
Yeah.
Eat out of the pot, it's actually passing on the diseases that animal had to all of the children of Israel. And when you got a lot of children of Israel all in one place, those diseases kept getting passed on and passed on and passed on. So what does God say? He says if a dead thing falls into a pot, just break the pot. It's pretty simple. It was for their own good. And yet...
You know what's funny? That same principle is endogenous retroviruses, but genetically. Something got in the pot, but you just keep, eating it, it gets passed on and passed on, and I'm like,
The thing is, it's trivially easy to find parts of the Mosaic Law that are like a good idea from a practical standpoint.
Yeah.
But it's also trivially easy to find parts that are not particularly practical from any standpoint and are just there to make like cultural distinctiveness a thing. I'm like, okay, what's the point? Like we already said, mixed fabrics. How is it that wearing like a cotton poly blend shirt is harmful?
To be fair, I will say this just as a footnote. The two places where that occurs, one of the instances specifies wool and linen directly. It doesn't just randomly say any things that are mixed. It specifies wool and linen. So
even then, though, if I wear a wool linen blend shirt, what ill effects will I suffer? Aside from the wrath of God, obviously.
Right, obviously. I've heard people just kind of spitball that it was linen's meant to keep you cool, wool is meant to keep you warm. There are conflicting points. I don't know. There's all sorts of crap you could say about it. But
still
it's one
doesn't
of those
seem like I'm going to be.
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah. Or I mean, hey, what about how if my slave decides that he really wants to stay my slave, I should nail his earlobe to the door? Who's being helped by that?
He definitely wasn't incentivized by you giving him a wife and they're having kids. He could just abandon them. It's fine.
Yeah, no, don't worry.
You want to be free, right? You just abandon your family. Don't worry about it.
No big deal. And the other option is that I nail his earlobe to the door. Granted, temporarily, but that doesn't seem like it's benefiting too many people. Yeah.
Just put a hole through it. It's like an ear pierced.
It was only in the 1800s that Louis Pasteur, a Bible-believing Christian, by the way, who believed in God's creation,
who, by the way, didn't just look at the Bible and be like, aha, germ theory. He did this thing called gathering evidence. Yeah, and when you look at his evidence for germs, weirdly enough, he doesn't refer to Leviticus. So I'm just going to take a drink for Louis Pasteur totally got these ideas from the Bible. No, he didn't.
Does he accept germ theory because the guy who largely came up with it was a Christian? Does that mean that only science that they accept was come up with by Christians? Because
relativity
I
is right out. Yeah, relativity, no.
Yeah.
Most of optics, no.
Most of optics, I mean, do you count the deists?
Yeah. I mean, if we're going to go strictly with only Christians can do science, there's a whole lot of science you're going to have to toss out. Oddly enough,
I have news for them about evolution and geology.
Yeah, and the Big Bang for that matter. All made by, Christians, at least at the time that the research was done. Weird. Edward Houghton's Louis Pasteur did get his idea from the Bible. That's why it's called pasteurization, sorry. yes, of course.
He came along and said, well, maybe...
Relativity, fade to gray, that was largely Einstein, and he's Jewish, so you can't accept it.
Yeah, no.
Not a Christian.
Not a Christian. Definitely
you can take from Jewish text, but only one, and you can't take anything else from Jews, though.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, he wasn't even a theist.
Oh, gasp!
Yeah.
You know what? There are germs and microbes and things that are passing on these diseases. Absolutely. Did God need to tell us that?
It sure would have been handy. Because for centuries, doctors didn't wash their hands, and when the idea was first introduced, doctors found it offensive and refused to do it.
Yeah. You're reading my mind. I was chewing my chip, which is why I didn't bring up the hand washing thing.
So, yeah, it would have been great if he had. I'll just put that out there. Because If God had given a nice understanding of germ theory of disease in Leviticus instead of just saying break your dirty pots, that would have saved a whole lot of lives throughout the history of the world. Just gonna...
Wow, we wouldn't have had a lot of people dying from dysentery and
Mhm.
probably E. coli and untreated, venereal diseases.
Yeah.
Well, okay. That's
Or
fine.
people going straight from like surgery on someone's like guts to then going to deliver a baby and then wondering why the maternal and infant mortality was so high in their hospital. Weird.
Baby killing demons, obviously.
Yeah, look, babies are just super fragile, and so are moms. Like, okay,
Yeah.
granted, that's actually true, but not nearly as fragile as that. Because at the same time, like the person who invented hand washing, whose name or not invented hand washing, but like who was like first like, oh hey, this is a thing doctors should do. He noticed that the maternity ward run by nuns, who were always washing their hands for various religious reasons, had a way lower infant and maternal mortality rate. It was like, hey, maybe that's the thing. Maybe it's the nuns being cleaner than the doctors. And so then he started his own maternity ward, and the doctors got really pissy about it. Anyway, Too Young to Feel This Old for $10 says, my grandmother went to the went to Ken Scam Arc, got it, and sent my little ones a bunch of dinosaur books from the gift shop. The content of said books was atrocious. We immediately donated them.
Oh.
I'm not a big fan of destroying books, but maybe in that case, destroying would have been better than giving them to someone else so that that person can be misled.
You know what you could do also? You could cut out the pictures of the dinosaurs and have your kids make like collage art and stuff with them.
There you go. That's a
And then
good
you
one.
could tell them about actual dinosaur science.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always weird when you get gifted a book that you actively do not want to have. Like, my grandmother once gifted me this like history of the Navy in a giant like coffee table sized book. I just handed it back to her, and she was like,
They're like, nah.
I don't want this. Like, what do you mean? Look at it, it's nice. I'm like, I don't care. Like, but I got it for you. I'm like, great. I don't care. You should return it. Like, I'm not going to put that in any place that I live. It's not going to happen. Strawberry Vein for $5 says, David, sweetie, the ancient Hebrews were not as silly as you are. Yeah, actually, I tend to agree. The ancient Hebrews were probably not as silly as he was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And plus, in cases where they were, they had the advantage of, a few thousand years less scientific development.
Yeah.
In this verse? No. He doesn't have to explain himself. It was for their own good that he wrote these things.
I'm also going to point out that he wrote that maybe if you have, like leprosy, you should spread some dove blood on you. Which, not as effective as giving a germ theory of disease based treatment plan for leprosy. I'm not saying you can't smear dove blood on you. You can go do whatever you want, I suppose. But I don't think there's any evidence that it's going to treat your leprosy. Just saying.
Maybe your faith's just not strong enough.
That's a good point. Yeah. Because I'll be honest, I don't believe it will. So maybe if you believe hard enough, the placebo effect will become magic.
Okay.
That's how that works.
You take a lesson from that. God doesn't have to explain himself. Whatever you're going through, he knew it. He knew you were going to go through this. But
if this becomes a don't go to therapy or get any kind of psychiatric care when you're going through some mental health problems.
Yeah, I'm done at that point.
Yeah, that's not going to be okay. That's a prediction right now, and I'm hoping it doesn't come true. Because that's a thing that happens, not in Christianity broadly, but it does happen in certain groups, and David Reeves is in some of those groups. And it's not okay.
he said, you know what? Even though I may not tell you exactly the reason you're going through this, I will take you through this stronger, and I know exactly what is happening. That's an important lesson that we have to remember. And it's an important lesson to remember that in the case of Leviticus 11, the Bible knows best. That was good.
Honestly, what's his name? David?
David, yeah.
Okay. David, go suck a balloon knot.
Yeah.
I get really frustrated with these types of people who are like, look at these random Old Testament passages. I mean, we don't follow any of them, but they're definitely right, but you don't follow them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, now he has, like, you know, pressure washing, sanitizing dishwasher, so he doesn't have to worry about his pot shards.
Well, you see, you know, the law was good until we developed technology, and then, you know, God knows best is useless because refrigerators?
Yes, that's how that works.
Instead of building a tabernacle, why didn't God just teach Moses how to build, like, refrigeration units?
To be fair, I don't think they had the manufacturing capacity at the time.
I'm just saying, I mean, it would be a lot more useful to teach people how to, preserve things, or maybe you could give them the ability to sterilize implements. That'd be cool, or... you could just
Yeah,
tell
plus
them
your beer would get way less sour.
Yeah.
By the
lot
way, we got a
more
couple
useful.
more super chats. For $5, Savage Cobra, kind of official, says Diogenes has been wandering around this conference with a lantern looking for an honest, well-informed creationist. Yeah, he's not gonna find one.
Diogenes.
Yeah. Diogenes
Those memes to this day.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine being such a shitposter that for thousands of years people are still talking about your shitposts?
Legendary.
Yeah, that's pretty legendary.
What a legend.
Yeah, anyone would be lucky to be as amazing of a shitposter as Diogenes. Asmodekamimi for $19.99 says, I hate these people. Therapy is saving my life. Go away, David. Okay, to be fair, he didn't actually say don't go to therapy. Or, like, you only need God to be happy and you don't need to worry about any of that. So he might believe it. But in this case, at least, he hasn't said it. So I'm not going to quite go so far as to say that's his position. I think it's
Oh my god.
pretty likely it is.
Speaking of ancient shitposts, Edward Houghton. So, Diogenes and Yanasir walk into a bar. The bar falls apart because it was made with metal Yanasir's soul.
All right, here we go.
Good. That was good. I like that. We're catching on here. Job 26 speaks of God stretching out the north over the
Why are we doing Discworld? That was no... Okay, whatever.
empty place and hanging the earth upon nothing. Did you know that there were many ancient
pillars? Freaking
Yeah.
weirdo.
Yeah, it's not hanging. It's supported. But okay.
cultures, the ancient Hindus, for instance, who
B2022 or 2022 for £10 says, AIG, a sack of serpents slung over a saddle with a satchel of shafts, sat to the side on a stallion surrounded by a squad of strudelhunds who squander their seconds on sermons subverting science. My goodness. How long did that take you to come up with? That's amazing. Thank you for that. Wow. I'm impressed. Okay, here we go.
believed that the earth was a flat pancake-like disc.
Yeah, so did the authors
The
of the
Bible
Hebrew
assumes a
Scriptures, yeah.
flat earth.
Yeah. I'm less confident that the New Testament asserts a flat earth, mostly because the authors of it lived at a time when very few people thought the earth was flat. And at least one of them was probably well educated enough to know better. And people will say, oh, what about the temptation of Christ by Satan with bringing up to a mountain top and whatnot? If you want to read that as an indication that the authors of the Gospels believed in a flat earth, I mean, you can. I think that this is in line with traditional interpretation that was more likely a vision rather than literally bringing him up to a mountain high enough to see all of the world, because if the authors thought that such a mountain existed, they would have been able to see it themselves. Not being able to do so, I don't think they believed that such a mountain existed.
Yeah.
So, I don't actually think that the authors of the Gospels, or Luke, or Paul, or the authors of the letters attributed to Paul that weren't written by him, were flat earthers. However, the authors of the Torah
the Greeks had
and the
it
Psalms,
well in hand by that point. Yeah.
However, the authors of the Torah and the Psalms and various other writings in the Hebrew Scriptures definitely were flat earthers.
That's right. It was a pagan belief. The flat earth was a pagan belief.
Jeez, no, it wasn't everyone believed.
No, it was not. Everyone believed this. The Bible assumes a flat earth. Oh my god, I am going to scream.
I guess you can say it's a pagan belief in the sense that the pagans also believed it. But, it wasn't a uniquely pagan belief. It was an everyone belief. Vandali1998 for $5 says, I have an outdated Dino book from the 80s that is probably more accurate than any present-day AIG Dino book. And there's a citation needed and a Mothra, so we'll take a drink from Mothra. And yeah, no, I would... Look, Answers Genesis seems to get all their paleontology from, like, the 50s through the 60s. So yeah, if you have a dinosaur book from the 80s, it is almost certainly more accurate than anything coming out of AIG. And that's just ignoring the dating problems. Strawberry Vein for $5 says, God loves to make you suffer and won't explain it to you. Congrats, David. We finally agree on what the Bible says. I mean, yeah, I'm not going to say you can't find that message in there. Definitely can. Yeah.
I mean, if he's going to quote out of Job.
Yeah. Which actually, I'm kind of surprised he hasn't quoted out of Job. That's like the Creationist second favorite book of the Bible. It goes like Genesis, then Job, then, I don't know, like maybe the Gospels or something.
Yeah.
That there was this flat pancake-like disc.
Psalms.
And this flat pancake-like disc sat on the tops of giant elephants.
Okay, that part is not part of the ancient Near East cosmology, so I'll grant you that the ancient Hebrews did not believe that. They thought it was on, stone pillars that held the earth up out of the cosmic ocean below, and that there was a dome that surrounded the earth, held up by mountains around its circumference, that separated the waters above from the waters below. That's why, in Genesis 1, God is said to separate the waters above the heavens from the waters below, and he sets a firmament, or, a solid thing, right, in the midst of the waters, to keep the waters above from falling onto the land, and to keep the waters, and he sets the land in place to keep the waters from below from flooding up. Yeah, weird. Okay, here we go. B 2022 for £5 says AIG is a quadrant of corn sausages that can't quite quit quote mining a Xerox pile of trouser xylophones. Wow. What was some of the high value Scrabble letters, if you will?
Scrabble's bullshit.
You just say that because you lost to me 3 times in a row.
Yes, I did. I admit that. I told you I'm irrationally competitive, and I was extremely frustrated by the lack of definition for what words count and which ones counted, despite being foreign words when I used words that were also foreign that are in the English lexicon.
So, like, you don't you can't use Uno, but I can use key or Taj?
Yeah, that's BS. That is absolute BS.
I'm not going to disagree with you, but also for people who are like very familiar with Scrabble, like those are well-known words that you can use in Scrabble. So
that is just absolutely not okay.
Sorry.
Ooh. Mm-hmm. And these big elephants are standing on a much larger turtle.
Again, not the Hebrew idea, but yeah, it was an idea. Like,
does he not understand that like Neil Gaiman and Stephen King like write books?
I don't know. Actually, so the thing is, I actually don't know.
Terry Pratchett.
So he's claiming
this is
he's claiming this is a Hindu belief, and I actually don't know enough about ancient Hindu cosmology to like say if it is or not. So if anyone does, let me know, because it wouldn't shock me either way if he's just ripping straight from Discworld, or if Discworld and what he's talking about were in fact, based on some like ancient Hindu cosmological idea about the shape of the earth. Like neither of those would shock me.
Somebody remind me to make a meme out of Edward Helton's post where he's saying the Bible knows best. Also, it says the earth is on pillars. Show us the pillars, David.
Right?
Someone on Discord remind me to make the goose meme.
Yes, please do.
Turtles
and the huge, massive turtle is floating in a giant pool of water.
I believe if this were Hinduism, it would be milk.
Yeah.
So, I think either and it also wouldn't be like Discworld, because like Terry Pratchett's Discworld did have a giant turtle, but it was floating through space, and like avoiding collisions with asteroids and whatnot.
Yeah.
So, I think he might just be mixing a few things up.
Yeah, he's just making this all up.
Was some of the ancients' beliefs in the earth. But what does the Bible say? It says that God hangs the earth upon nothing.
Yeah, okay, but it also says he uses...
stretched out the heavens.
Yeah, it says he stretched out the heavens like a tent, like a solid thing
Like
that
a
surrounds
tent.
a flat surface. It says that, God uses the circle, not sphere, the circle, which is a flat, round thing, as a footstool. It talks numerous times about the firmament and the windows in the firmament that let the rain out, or the snow, because again, God stores up rain and snow in storehouses above said firmament so that he can let it down on the earth.
Yeah.
Like, we're just going to take a drink for, Bible's totally, up on the globe. No.
Vadim is asking if the floodgates of heaven is a thing in Hebrew too, and I would just note that that particular terminology is a Hebrew thing. It's quite literally found floodgates of heaven. That's found in Genesis. So
yeah, actually, I believe on one of our... I know you and I have gone through, the actual, breaking down those words in Hebrew and looking them up in lexicons and whatnot. I don't remember if we did it live or if we just did it in private, but we definitely did do it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's very literal, gates to hold back a flood that are set in the firmament of heaven. Floodgates of heaven. Yeah, it's extremely
and when they're talking about,
the case.
there's windows of heaven and the rain falls out, that's because it's like opening a trap door in the dome and the water just falls out, and it's that's what they thought. That's what it looks like.
Strawberry Vein for $5 says, "Holy heck, EX, just go full flurf. Your ideas are already insane and demonstrably false. At least have fun with it."
Yeah, at least have fun with it.
Safe. For F's sake. Look, like I said, I just finished a section of a script where ICR, who is also speaking at this, by the way, Randy Galuz is the ICR head, said that Alaska and Siberia were on opposite sides of the world, thousands of miles apart. The only way that you can think that is if you think that the Earth is actually just the Mercator projection. And that the international dateline is fake. However, I myself have crossed the international dateline 6 times. I can promise. It's for real, you guys. And when I went from, say, Washington to the Middle East, and back twice, or when I went from Chicago to Korea, back and forth, I didn't cross the Atlantic any of those times. Just putting it out there.
God indeed has hung this earth with the blackness of space all around. It is a beautiful planet designed for life, designed for us to inhabit.
Teacher?
And yet we often forget this.
up,
Now,
Seth?
how would the
question.
ancients...
Go ahead.
So he's not going to roll with literal pillars, but he's going to say that it's hung. What's it hanging from?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's
What's it
God's...
hanging from, David?
See, maybe he thinks that the real way that the solar system works is that God's got a baby mobile thing, that you hang in the crib,
Yeah.
and the Earth and the sun is in the middle, and all the planets in the Earth are hanging down. Yep, and then maybe Jesus as God's son is underneath, looking up, laughing like a baby because of how cool it is that it keeps spinning around. Maybe that's the real Christian cosmology. Yeah, maybe Jesus is looking up at the cool mobile planets. That's real Christian cosmology right there. We figured it out, guys. We cracked the code. By the way, no, don't get me wrong. I am aware that the vast majority of Christians are not this dumb and would not make these ridiculous claims. Please don't get me wrong, anyone who might be watching who is a Christian, who is in fact not a complete idiot. I know you're out there.
Pelagic Tunica Truth Official says, "Nah, God just made the earth hung."
There you go. Maybe that's it. Alia Jane says, "International Dateline is round earth conspiracy." Actually, even oddly enough, even the Flurfs believe in the International Dateline. When ICR went full Flurf, they actually did it worse than the average Flurf does. Because most Flurfs...
How do you do things worse than Flurfs?
I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a geography fail harder than any that Nathan Thompson or I don't know, Russian vids would make.
David Weiss.
Yeah, none of them would make that mistake.
Yeah. Freaking Russian vids. What a weirdo.
Yeah, isn't he one of the big transvestigator types?
Oh yeah, of course he is.
any woman who has
Biggest of a feather fly together.
Yeah, any woman who has a squarish jawline or whose Adam apple you can see in any photo, because, hey, fun fact, everyone has an Adam's apple. Some people just have more prominent ones. Yeah, they're all obviously trans women. B, 2022 says for £10, one last one. AIG is a contemptuous cartridge crammed with a collection of courgette, cucumbers, and carrot-shaped custard-launching chodes committed to converting you to their contingent in the culture war. Wow.
What? B 2022 says that they promised me an AIG A to G, so they've been keeping track to make sure they cover.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
By the way, for those of you who might not be British, courgette is British for zucchini.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Kind of like how aubergine and eggplant are the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or cilantro and coriander.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, for most of American history, the general term for English-speaking Americans for cilantro was coriander. And it wasn't until like the early 20th century when a lot more Spanish-speaking people started spreading into like parts of the United States that weren't near Mexico that cilantro started to dominate because it was so heavily used in Mexican-style food that that the use of cilantro started to displace coriander. And now you will really only see coriander in terms of like coriander seed in the spice aisle, which is just the same thing as cilantro seed. Anyway. Savage Cobra, kind of official, for $5 says, Jesus swatted Venus, that's why its rotation is different. Oh, okay. No, that makes sense. Yeah, he screwed that one up a little bit, huh? Yeah.
You know how, like, cats will perch on the edge of, like, a crib or something and just bat at the mobile? That's what happens.
Yeah, okay.
Big kitty cat, it just bat, 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 bat.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. We're figuring it out.
I do fearmonger. I'm extremely upset. Nee also apparently has the genetic thing where cilantro tastes like soap, and I'm very mad about this.
Yeah.
This is discrimination. This is genetic discrimination against my people specifically.
Your people being like your specific family?
The Mexicans. Yes.
I mean, most Mexicans don't have that allele.
Well, when your Mexican and Filipino mother marries a white guy,
womp womp.
Like I said, stupid colonized genes.
Thousands of years ago, have realized that God hung the earth upon nothing. They wouldn't have.
How do you hang it on nothing?
Yeah. Dude, you're not going to be able to use this one verse to negate all of the completely wrong things the Bible has to say about cosmology. It's just not going to work. Sorry. But also, we're over time. My goodness. So here's what we're going to do. We're just going to get past this one to his next one. We're going to actually speed it up. So
that's the concept of divine inspiration. The Lord in his infinite wisdom gave them those words so that they would write down the accurate truth about our universe. That God hangs the earth upon nothing. In other words, what I'm saying is that even in that verse, the Bible knows this. Now, there's a verse in the book of 2 Peter that says that
that's a new verse, so we're going to stop there. We got to the end by going to like 2.5 times speed. Because
this really truly was weaponized stupid.
Brain damage, yeah, weaponized brain damage. All right, well, guys.
Goodness.
First of all, you guys did successfully get another feather video. So there is that. Congratulations on that. So, actually, we went significantly past the feather video trigger. So, thank you very much for all your generosity. Vishanti, do you have anything that you want to announce before we wrap this up?
My wish list is in the description.
Well, technically, a link to your channel, which also has the wish list, is in the description.
If you could link that in the description, so I'm not a liar, that'd be cool too.
Okay, I'll work on that. It might not be while the stream is still up. It might be after the stream.
Okay,
so
that's fair.
If you're watching this in the future, if you're watching this in the now, click on her link, and her wish list is right there, and her channel link's in the top right of her channel, or well, the bottom right of the banner, top right of the page. You know what I mean. Anyway. Let's see what's coming up on this channel. On the 23rd, Jackson with Jackson. We're going to keep talking about stellar formation with Jackson Wheat, talking about Charles Jackson. Then on the 25th, we're going to be having the final video about hydroplate theory. Then, well, at least for now. Then on the 27th, I'm going to be joined by Dr. Zach Hancock an evolutionary biologist who just got back from the field taking samples of obscure crustaceans up and down the eastern seaboard of the United States, from Florida all the way to Maine, who's going to talk to us about genetic entropy, specifically in the context of a quote-unquote response that I got to my videos from Sal Cordova, who, interestingly enough, is responding to videos he didn't watch, which is weird, which is also probably why his responses had almost nothing to do with anything I said in my videos that he was responding to. Weird, isn't it? Yeah. It's also why his initial
Almost
response...
like he's acting like a little snowflake butthurt
A little bit.
crybaby.
It's also why his first response actually helps my case in my videos rather than hurting it, which is a weird move. But I guess when you didn't watch the video in the first place, that's the kind of thing you do. So, yeah, that's going to be that. We're going to be talking about one of his responsive videos. We're also going to be talking about a paper that he didn't just quote mine the paper. He quote mined the title of the paper. He didn't even get to the body of the paper. He chopped off the beginning and the end of the paper to lie about what the title means.
Yep.
And
I have a copy of that paper.
I spent a good part of like 2 different days trying to figure out how I can construe his use of this title, chopped up as it was, in a way that wasn't him trying to mislead me and my audience. And no one I could talk to could find a way that that's the case.
It is quite literally the most pathetic attempt.
Yeah. Also, he miscited the author. He cited it as Lenski et al. 2017. It's not. It's Kus et al. 2017. Lenski is like the 15th listed author. That's deep in the et al. Part of the citation. Which is one of the reasons it took me a little while to find it. Because there isn't a Lenski et al. Paper with that in it. There's a Kus et al. Paper with Lenski as a co-author.
Oh, but you know, all of us little peons who don't have degrees and didn't study it, we just can't argue about this. And I'm like, Sal, you studied in this field and you can't correctly cite the papers, so...
Yeah. Also, Strawberry Vein says for $5, trans rights boycott Florida. Well, looks like, I don't know if you know, but the undocumented workers in Florida are already boycotting Florida, and like nothing is getting done. Crops are rotting in the fields. Construction has ground to a halt. It's just like, ooh, maybe you shouldn't have.
Si se puede.
So,
si se puede.
All right, guys, thank you very much. Check out the links in the description, both mine and Vishanti's and Bent's, and we will talk to you on Thursday. Wait, no, Tuesday. I know what days of the week are happening. Tuesday. Come back Tuesday. All right, bye, everybody. Thanks for watching, but before you go, I just want to say a special thank you to my channel members and my patrons, especially those pledging $20 or above. Bob Knob, Tapioca Weasel, Klaus Jepsen, Bent Hovind, Kevin Brostek Van Manen, Landon Knoll, Mabbity Babbity, Monkey They Them, San, Denny5252, Eleron Teller, Phil Havara, Ian Chen, Mrs. Spexinder, Sphincter of Doom, The Venerable Bee, and Scriptic Mystic. As you probably know, YouTube is a very volatile platform, and from month to month my income on the channel can swing wildly. But the people you see on screen are directly supporting so that I don't have to worry too much about that, and the channel can keep going as it is, and perhaps even improving. If you'd like to join this team, there are links below to join the channel or in the description to join the Patreon. The Patreon starts as low as $1 a month, and the channel memberships start as low as $1.99 a month. On Patreon, you can even get a discount for pledging annually. If you do decide to pledge, you'll get access to an exclusive Discord server just for channel supporters, as well as early access to all of my pre-recorded videos, often up to 2 months in advance. Higher tiers will unlock even better perks. Now, if an annual or monthly pledge isn't right for you, but you still want to support the channel, there is a merch store down in the description, as well as an Amazon wishlist, just for me. And if financial support isn't something you can or want to do, then if you still want to help out the channel, please just like and share these videos and make sure you comment on them. It really helps the channel out. Thanks again for watching.